Okay, and now we're back. Anyway, so I was thinking while the break was going on, about things, um, especially things like my mother-in-law really didn't like it most of the time whenever I would watch cartoons. Um, but you got to think, growing up, we're poor. Uh, Black and white TV. The only thing we even had was the few channels we had, and not allowed to watch cartoons on Saturday morning. So I got older, and being an art nerd or art major as I am, I wanted to see what the other what the new things was. So I would watch cartoons, all kinds of cartoons. I would read cartoons in the newspaper. That was one thing we did a lot. Is when we get the Sunday paper, we would go and just go and read the cartoons. And whenever we started getting cable, well, we didn't have it out in Proctor, but whenever I bought cable or went to a house that had cable, I would turn it to the Cartoon Network and watch cartoons. And then when I got older and got married and everything, and uh, could buy cable, that's what I would do, or satellite dish. That's what I would do, was watch cartoons. Um, Mainly, well, my mother-in-law hated it, but because she thought it was childish, but I just wanted to watch it for the artistic value of a cartoon, because I still had in the back of my mind that I wanted to be a comic book artist, or draw a comic book, or draw people like comic books, or stuff like that. I know I probably said it before. That's what I really wanted to do. Cartoons. That's why most of my artwork really look comic booky. I mean, I even go when we went to the library growing up. Uh, growing up, I'd get those books that they have, how to draw books and stuff, and I would get all of them. I'm like 10. Got got my I think I got it about 10 when I got my library card. I think they wouldn't let you had it any younger. So I got my library card, and then I would get the books, all the books, even the ones that we went. They had one time I had nothing but comic books and talked about the comic books. That's where I actually saw the first episode of Supergirl. It was a Superman book, and it just had that. It was a book on comics, and it had that in there and different things. And I would, of course, I would take it and get the paper with the lines on it, the notebook paper, and of course, I would try to. Sometimes I would trace it, but most of the times I wouldn't. And so, I've always done it, tracing or not tracing. Even my brother lately, that's what he says. You've always done it, and you've done it even without even tracing it. You could do it. Yeah, because even one teacher, she had, it was a Halloween thing, and she had a bowed up cat, and she had a little picture of it, and I think it was in third grade, and I just drew it, looked just like it and everything. And most of the time, I think some of the teachers, when growing up, they thought I traced it. Yeah, and me and a friend of mine, oh, I kind of got mad and angry about it. And, me being a quiet person, not quiet. And I got, jealous that he won it. he won it because he actually did the background, and I guess her being the judge, the teacher, being took all the art classes and stuff on her version. But you got to think, the teachers that I had, they pretty much, I think Miss Ross, they went to school in the 60s. Um, at least the 60s, because my mama graduated in 68. She was 20 in 68, so, and that's her graduation is 68. And back then, maybe it was the beginning of Stan Lee and all that, and Marvel Comics, and but that was just a different view of everything. That's why everything was more cartoonish, if you think about it. Not like some of the comic books now with the dramatic thing, and just sitting and watching some of the documentaries that they have now with the art history, and even back then, taking it in the 80s, even they still didn't consider Andy Warhol an artist. Huh. And I don't think he died until till the 90 something. But he was still making art, and he was more, by what I remember, he was doing a print. And then Picasso, had a book. I thought Picasso was still alive when I got that book. That was in fourth grade. And that would definitely make it fourth, fifth grade. He would have been that old, because it had no death date on it, because that's how out of print it was. And different bits and pieces. And as I said, my mother-in-law hated that I did like cartoons, and I would just watch it. And then when a little bit came around, I had more than an excuse to watch it. And then when we go down to for them for Christmas or Thanksgiving, automatically put it on uh the Disney Channel or the Cartoon Network channel, and I would sit there and watch it with my little one. And she and of course they're catering because it's the granddaughter, and of course they're gonna just do it. But it's just, yeah. And I don't know. Sometimes I really thought that she didn't like me. I really did. I thought mother-in-law really, really didn't like me. I mean, we, she struggled all her life with being, or thinking that she's poor, because she was a single mom for such a long time. Really, really a single mom for a long time, because she divorced my husband's dad when he was real young. I don't know how young he was when they divorced, but he got her mad, and she pulled the person's hair out, and of all things, uh, Miss Edna kept the hair that she pulled out of that person's head. I mean, you do not want to mess with Nita when she got mad, because I do too. I get mad too. Even the other day, Daniel got a little mad because she was losing her picture, and she worked so hard on it, and this app decided to want to die on her. But we got to use what we got to do. She don't want to use some of the stuff I got. I mean, I got this app, this program here. I got GIMP, and I got another program, and then I got her. I went and during the pandemic, I got her a tablet, but she don't want to use it because it's not kind of tablet she wants, and I didn't get one of those paper ones. And she just used this app on her phone, and the same app when she had the on her tablet was working. She used it on it. Well, I know I'm just rambling. That's all I ever do is ramble. I, I already went through my 3 topics, and then now I'm on a totally unrelated, but yet related to my mind, but not to you, topic of comic books and cartoons and artwork and stuff. So I guess, but I went, oh, that's why sometimes I still kind of struggle with modern art history, especially anything after. Well, I can do Baroque, but when the Impressionists, Expressionists, uh, their stuff was about the same because they influence each other, so their artwork kind of looks similar, and you get them mixed up because the artists back then would do the same thing. Like Van Gogh, he's an expressionist and an impressionist, and Monet, expressionist, impressionist. So all that stuff kind of mixes up. And then you go into Art Deco, which I like Art Deco. It's more, if you look and think of Art Deco, it's more balanced. Everything is balanced and even. You think about it. Art Nouveau is just, new art. It's kind of modern art. And then of course, it evolves into Cubism, which is the squares and the surrealism. I mean, I get fuzzled with all that from 18, I forgot, 18 something to up to modern. They kind of fuzzle because the movements kind of they mix, and everything's all mixture. Like now they got, oh, what's this now? It's contemporary modern. I think that's what it said on eBay, and I gotta put what is my style. I always had to have to. What is your style? What is your style? And my professor, what is your style? And my style's not like everybody else's, and it kind of is a mesh up between realism and cartoon, but that's why it kind of looks cartoony and kind of looks like comic book or graphic novel. I mean, when I sit and draw, it does, and then it also looks like I've did it on a computer. No, I do it with paintbrush and pencil. I can do computer on the computer, but I don't sit here hours and hours on the computer like my little one, and sketch everything out on there. Is because I'm so used to the traditional having the pencil pen, or the paintbrush in my hand and doing it that way, because that's what I'm used to. Because we didn't get like a whole studio app until pretty much recently. until they started getting Photoshop, and then they using Photoshop on everything. Trying to get a job, graduate from college, try to get a graphics designer job in Memphis, knock on every door. You do not have a Bachelor of Science degree. Why do I need a Bachelor of Science to do graphics or to do advertisements or to do work at a newspaper or do layouts? Oh, you gotta have a graphic? Well, because everything back then was computer. And that's 92s when I graduated from college with my college degree. And I didn't really even get to use the computer that much. I took programming, basic, and then in college I took Pascal. I took, yeah, I took Pascal for like a semester. I didn't do very good in it. But you gotta think, basic was pretty easy, and then Pascal was kind of hard when you had to do the arrays and do the string writing for the arrays. That was what got confusing. And my little one right now, that's what she's doing is I said you need it programming. She's doing coding, and right now she's through with the coding. And I asked her the other day uh Python, and I said these programs I got on here can do Python, and I said, did you ever remember any of them? She goes, no, I don't remember any of it. And she's planning on taking it next year, and it's going to be the one for the entire system. Right now, the programming she's taking now is just mainly the basics, and it's only for Arkansas. But when she gets next year, it'll be the one that she needs to know for all of it. And since she's going to be an animator, she's going to have to do it. I mean, every job I'm looking, even every job I'm looking online, that's what they're wanting. You got to know Amaya, got to know um something live, and you got to know this software, this editing software, this editing software. Well, I know you set me in front of it, I can do it, but do go by the book, I'm like confused as ever. And that's what I did when I was taking that Photoshop class over here at the college. Okay, well, I just rambled and I got a minute and 30 to go. Um, my time is up right now, so this part is up, and I'll try to come up with something for the next episode. Be sure to subscribe, donate, and check out my art on Laura's blog. That's LORGH.BLOG. You can purchase originals from me or products with or products if you like with my work on it at Pixels, Redbubble, Zazzle. I'm also with other things, but those three are the main ones. I do have an eBay store. It's Loretta Nash Fine Art Studio. On there right now, I've got like a few pieces. You can have them, and I can ship them out to you. I might the paperwork's right now because I don't have the means to ship the frames and the big boxes. And thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next time. I wanted to try to get this moving, but I'll see you in the next episode. Loretta Nash. Seeing you later. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Hello and welcome to Loretta Nash Show, Lore's blog. I am Loretta Nash. If you've been listening for a while, I normally, this is, okay, give me a second. This is season 2, episode 3. Okay, and what I'm going to talk about today, I kind of wrote something down so that I can talk it for this little bit as what was it like taking art class in high school? This is for me personally. Um, I took all 4 art classes, and you got to think back when I took them. Let me see. I graduated in '88, so 78, '88 was my senior one, and so be 80. Give me a second. Okay, I'm 16 in 10th grade. So 2000 and, no, wait, 84 to 85 was ninth grade. 85, 86 was 10th because I turned 16 in 10th grade. And then 86, 87 was 11th. And 87, 88 was my senior year. And of course, back then, that's the 80s, different time zone, different everything. I mean, back then in the 80s, comic books were still considered, well, into the art thing. Comic books were really considered just passe. We did have anime because about 83 is when I remember watching Sailor Moon, I think. Or was it night? I think, no, it was Speed Racer. Was the anime that I got to, the first anime I got to see was Speed Racer. And even though it was made in the 60s, 60s, 70s, I didn't get to see it until the 80s. But I do remember the anime Speed Racer. That really dates me. Okay. Um, Ninth grade art. Miss Ernie at West Junior High. Art room. Basically, we just did whatever she had us to do. We learned the basics, the line, texture, all that stuff that the elements of art, basic stuff. Uh, who could draw this, and she would give us projects like one. We did projects on a portrait study. She wanted us to draw a portrait. So I had my little brother sitting in front of me and with a regular pencil, and I, drew him. And I got an A on that for doing that. And then we did box lettering, uh, point perspectives, the 2 point and the single point, do the room, give reference to Van Gogh, different bits and pieces is what all we did in art 1, just the basics, paint this and watercolor. You don't mix watercolor with oil and I think we did do a few pastels, and I know we did watercolor. I think that's basic. And I know we did tempera paint or acrylic, and I think that's all we did in Art 1. Miss Ernie. And Miss Ernie, my art teacher, she come to find out later, she was really, besides getting her major in art and being an art teacher, she loved doing sculpture. Okay, well, got out of there, went up to the high school. Uh, not 10th and 11th grade is they were my toughest art years because, oh boy, did we have to do all kinds of stuff. Of course, we went over the basics again. We had to learn the elements. We had to learn the oh, and I still don't remember them. Wait, I got it on something here. Give me a second. Let me move this out of the way. I know I got it written on something. We didn't have to write anything other than put our names on it. We didn't really have to put the media or all this other stuff that I browsed around, and others not doing what we had to do. And like medium, we really didn't have to do the bio, but I know we had to do in the basics. Give me a second. Elements, line, color, shape, value, texture, and space. I remember we had to do. That's just the elements, and the principle of design: balance, contrast, emphasis, rhythm, unity, movement, and pattern. Um, that's the basics that we have to learn, and I forgot completely all of them. I had to go and look for this that I copied down to. So in 10th grade, we had to describe the lines, the elements, the texture, and the space. The That's the 5 elements. Wait, is it 5? It's got 6, and then of course the principle of design. And I got quick and I forgot it. And then we had to do art history. I mean, really, literally, we had to do art history a lot because Miss Ross, who's my teacher then, she since you were in the Art 2 and Art 3, that means you were thinking about actually, getting this as a job or a career choice. So that's why she kind of got a little tough on us. I mean, we did printmaking, we did weaving, we did dyeing, we did oil paint. I mean, she made us do a tie painting in oil. I mean, my parents had to buy the oil off of her because they didn't know what to get, and so I still got the paintbrush, that one paintbrush, and it smells good when I try to clean it. That was one of hers, and it's kind of, ooh, so that paintbrush is like almost as old as I am. We did record albums, designs for record albums. We did advertisements. I mean, we did clay, we did the wedging, we did the pottery, the potter's wheel, and everything, which I never got on the potter's wheel. I mean, art history. We had to do a lot of art history, and I don't have it on here, so we had to know the Baroque and the Impressionists and Expressionists and all that stuff, Dadaism, Cubism, all that stuff, which I pretty much it was the same that I had to do for college, and so those 2 years, uh, Art 2 and Art 3. And then Miss Ross decided she wanted to go. I think she got a job somewhere else and became Professor Ross. So my 10th grade, my 12th grade, uh, and plus, um, the class got a little smaller, so it wasn't that much. And so we still did the basics. We still did a little bit of art history, not much. We did freelancing a little bit, and we did crafts. And since I remember when I was in kindergarten, because we lived in Arizona, I don't know if it was a Navajo or uh, nice Spanish lady, but I had to make God's eyes, learn how to do God's eyes. And so I brought my rabbit, my pet rabbit up there. He was kind of, well, I kind of took my pet rabbit in 10th grade during Miss Ross, but I brought my rabbit and brought some chickens. I mean, in ninth grade, we had to keep up with a diary, well, a sketchbook diary, and we had to do a drawing every day. My daughter does that now in her art class. They have art prompts for her to do, and I'm not making her. She wants to do it anyway, and she's taken all art, but she's really can't tell the difference between a Rodin and a Cezanne. And I had to, by the time by the time I got through with 11th grade, I had to know the difference between that, and then I also had to know the difference who was Degas, and why did Degas look so much like um, Renoir's, and all that stuff. Whew, that was a headache. And I really still struggle with that, period pieces. And we were talking last night as we were watching the Doctor Who episode, and that we have to do a lot of period pieces, and we had to do a little study in period pieces when we had to do for drama class, or whenever I volunteered for the drama. I had to study up on period pieces, which I really like. The Antique Roadshow and stuff like that. I still watch them when I get a chance. But anyway, I really back then always I wanted to be a comic book artist, or I was really into comic books, and I wanted to do the art, and people were fairly easy for me to do. Sorry, arthritis gets me. Um, and so that's why most of my artwork pieces, if you see, is more human, and there might be a few landscapes and animals and stuff like that. I mean, if you go back, way, way back, I got, the normal thing that somebody does. I copied somebody else. And until I learned, how to do and get my own voice. And I do have a voice, and my professor in college, he said, find it, because I would make it look like one way and then make it look like another, and it was confusing. None of my artwork sometimes is. And now I understand why so many people ask me, was I ever an art teacher? Which is, like, no, I never was. The closest I even got to teaching is doing the substituting here in 2012 to 2020. That's the closest I've got. And that's a long time if you think about it. Long time. And I really enjoyed the art classes when I got to teach those. That was the coolest thing. And my daughter said yesterday she just got through doing printmaking. We're doing prints. Back in my day, we didn't really have the wood. Let me think. Miss Rock. No, we didn't have. Wait. Yeah, we did. We have the wood pieces that we would have to carve to put the thing. But now they got these little rubber things that you can put your print on your template, and we had to do that. We definitely had to do that with Miss Ross. Printmaking, we had to learn all the basics. excuse me, all the basics for the ceramic and the clay. I like the red clay better than the white clay, because the red clay had a little bit more texture to it, and it was a little bit more tough. And it, to me, it just held together better. The white clay was kind of more slimy to me. It just seemed more slimy, so that's why I leaned more to the red than I did to the white or the gray. And yeah, we had to do a lot of stuff, and since she did a lot of oils, I mean, we really didn't do hardly any acrylic when we did painting classes. Everything's basically in oil. I mean, she'd have us do watercolor, and we had Crayola watercolors that she would get, and of course those little 8 colors of Crayola watercolors would have to use for all her 5 classes. Yeah, 5 classes that she had. I got to remember that ninth grade, 10th, and 11th grade were 6 classes long, and in 12th grade we had 7 classes. And if I remember me subbing, there was always when we'd have that 1 hour that we wouldn't do. That would be our break. Sometimes the break would be when you did the art. Sometimes it would be before lunch, or sometimes after lunch. Let's see. On at the elementary schools, they would, the break would be at a different time. At the high schools, the junior highs. Let's see. I know Miss Lee that last time she didn't have a 7th period. No, 8th period. And it was interesting on her because some of the special needs kids would come at a certain time, and I asked my daughter, I think figuring that she is in the class with the special needs kids, but that was mainly before lunch. I know it was the PE lady, their special needs physical ed would always come about 3rd period, so that means their art class was at 4th, which is before lunch. And they had second lunch. Anyway, that's pretty much what I wrote down for this, and I know I'm coming up on my focus session is coming up on a break. What else do I remember for high school? Well, like I said, in that time, art was more the classical art and everything. Comic books was really not considered classical art like it is now. Granted, we had pop art and Dadaism and most of that basic stuff there, but we had to learn it, and we had to learn modern art and stuff like that. But it wasn't graphic novels and anime and stuff like that. I mean, we really didn't really have anything on anime. Not much. But I do like that episode on Sailor Moon when the girl with the pencil that kept growing, and her doing the art anime. That was an interesting one. I remember that because that's the one Sailor Moon. And I still think it was whenever I was got out of. I don't remember where it is, but I know it was around in the 80s. I think because it was right after school, and I don't think we had it on the color TV because we didn't get the color TV until later. Okay, well, I'm coming up on I'm going to break, and I'll see you in a bit.